Our virtual and live studio audiences. It has been a full year without a studio audience, and I am loving this energy. Thank you guys so much for being back here. I can't tell you how good it is to see you all in person, fully vaxxed, fully masked, with special Robin Design Dr. Phil mask. How about that? And listen, I want to take a minute to say how much I appreciate you putting your trust in me for these past 20 years. It means so much to me and to my staff. It really does. We work really hard to bring you stories that matter, stories you can learn from, and hopefully help you bring about change and enrichment in your own life and those for the people that you love. So that's why we do the stories that we do. So let's get down to business. Today, Fran says she's completely down on her luck. Her living room is mostly empty. The furniture sold. Her pickup truck no longer sits in the driveway. $8,000 in settlement money from a car accident has disappeared, and both of her $3,000 stimulus checks gone. Terrible, right? Well, if you're thinking that Fran was the victim of a robbery, well, you would be right. But what might surprise you is that Fran handed over all of these things and more, and she did it willingly. All Fran has left is $100 to her name. But she says that's okay, because it's all for love. Those closest to Fran say she's living in complete denial of reality. Take a look.
You can't be in love with somebody you just met, especially on Instagram. You can't love somebody that you've never laid eyes on.
He told my sister that he had a big settlement coming, several $100,000, and when he got it, he was going to get married, move up to Virginia, live happy ever after.
He has no intentions of marrying her.
That's all we hear about. Craig this, Craig that. He's wanting to meet you, Herman. I said, sister, he don't want to meet me, because when he does, he gets the big Herm upside the head, and that's the end of it. She was telling us she was sending him a little bit of money. She didn't say how much.
This lady calls her and says she's Craig's attorney in Florida, that she needs to send her some money up front to do Craig's inheritance. And so Frances sent her the money. I said, Frances, you're crazy. And then she finds out that she's not a lawyer. I have told her he's just after the money. Once the money stops, he'll be gone.
She maxed her credit cards out. She gave all her stimulus money to this guy.
It was probably at least $10,000 plus.
My sister's just so gullible.
Craig is a scammer. He may not even be Craig.
My biggest fear is that my sister's going to get her heart jerked out.
She doesn't want to be alone. She needs companionship. And I want that for her, but Craig is definitely not the one.
Fran loves Dr. Phil, thinks the sun sets and rises on him, and that he's going to have her answers and help her. And if he does, God bless him.
You believe Fran's getting conned?
Yes, definitely.
You believe this is a catfish, somebody's scamming her?
Yes.
Now I understand even sold furniture out of her home.
Yeah.
I was appalled.
The living room is empty.
Yes.
Truck's gone. She's afoot. She has no furniture. She's borrowed money. She's shipping everything off to them. Why would she fall for this and you not?
My sister is very lonely. And this person came into her life in a time when she lost her daughter.
And how did she lose her daughter?
Her daughter passed away. She found her dead in her apartment.
A young age, right?
At a very young age, yes.
Okay.
This has only been 2 years ago.
You've talked to her about this.
Yes.
Herman, you've talked to her about it.
Yes, sir.
And what have you said to her?
I've told her it's not real. I said, Fran, you're being scammed, honey. I said, have you ever met him? She went 2 trips to Texas and ain't met him yet. So
16 hours she drove to Texas to meet him.
Yes.
So what happened when she knocked on the door? Well, Craig did answer the door, but, well, take a look.
I had been talking with Craig on the phone for a while. I decided I wanted to meet Craig. I texted him. I was jumping in my truck and I was going to drive for 16 hours on my way to Texas. I wasn't afraid to travel. I love to travel.
Here's my sister Fran that I love with all my heart. going to Texas to meet some guy that she had never met except on the internet.
I really was looking forward to meeting Craig. Very nervous, very giddy, and very excited.
Who does that? By yourself to go meet a total stranger that you have no clue who it is. I told her, I said, Frances, you're crazy.
I ended up meeting a Craig, but it wasn't the Craig that I was talking to. When I knocked on his door, he said, "How can I help you?" And I said, "Well, I'm Fran. I'm the one you've been talking to for the last couple months." And he said, "No, you haven't been talking to me." I called Craig while we were all standing out there, and he told me he was going to his family's home in Dallas and that he would talk to me later. He wasn't very happy that I was talking to the other Craig. My cousin decided she wanted to take me out dancing. She called a cowboy over and had me take a picture with the cowboy, and then she had me send Craig the picture, and Craig was very, very jealous. He said he was very hurt. I was on my way home is when he started confessing everything, that he was a black man and that he was afraid I wouldn't have anything to do with him because he was a black man. I didn't get any pictures of him till after I got home. I noticed he was younger than what he had told me he was, and he said age did not matter. I told Craig I based all my feelings on honesty and trust, and whether he was black or not didn't matter to me, that Craig's heart is what mattered to me.
Okay, so she drives down there, knocks on the door. It's not him. This is in Manor, Texas, which is a couple hundred miles from Dallas, where he says, "No, I'm not here. I'm up in Addison," which is a suburb of Dallas. And he kind of short with her, cuts her off. Okay, then she's driving home, and he says, "Okay, I've been telling you that I'm a Caucasian male, but I'm really black. And I've just lied to you because I didn't think you would accept me."
Right.
Because he's got to cover up why he wouldn't see her at that point. Okay? This is what we call a modified mea culpa. I'm gonna confess something to you that is benign and off point because it'll buy me credibility about the big lie I'm telling you, which is that I don't exist. This is a professional here. I see this right away. And so now she says, I feel sorry that you would fear that. So he actually turns this into sympathy. She feels empty, she feels alone. And so here's somebody that starts telling her, "You're wonderful. I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. Oh, by the way, I'm going to be rich."
Mm-hmm.
But my sister thinks she has to have a man to complete her. But there's no talking to my sister, is there? None.
What makes you think she'll listen to me?
She admires you.
She's always watched. She thinks the world of him. Well, he's just helped so many people out and good to them. And she wanted to come here and see if she could get some help. Just to be honest with you, I think my sisters are grabbing for help.
All right, well, we're going to find out because next, Faye and Herman worry that Fran has shared every personal detail about her life with this Craig, not just her money, but her information, including her social security number. So what does Fran know about Craig? And why does he refuse to share anything, even his home address? We've done so many of these things over the years. This is the first one ever that wouldn't even give an address. So he's being really cagey. We're going to talk to Fran next.
My boyfriend, Craig, is very handsome, very sweet. It took me about 2 to 3 months and I was completely in love with him. And that's Craig. I've been giving him money to get his inheritance. He just asked me last night for $2,500 more. I'm hoping Dr. Phil does bring us together. That would make my heart burst wide open.
And later, this is your Craig, right? We were able to find the man in the Craig photos. Are you there?
Yeah, hi, Dr. Phil.
Well, Fran says her family and friends are adamant that Craig is not real, but she claims they are the delusional ones. She says she's sure Craig is real because he's receiving her money. That makes him real. Take a look.
My boyfriend Craig is very caring, very handsome, very sweet. His voice is deep and sexy. It took me about 2 to 3 months and I was completely in love with him. So I FaceTime with him one time and that's the only time I've ever seen him. We communicate 4 times a day and that's Craig. I told you he texts me all the time. He said, "Hope you're having a great day." I said, "Yes, dear, hope you are also." Craig has told me he's a football coach. His father is deceased, and he said he's getting an inheritance from his father. I've been giving him money to help him get his inheritance. He just asked me last night for $2,500 more. So I have sent money to a lady named Jennifer, who is apparently a neighbor of Craig's. I asked the teller, "Is this deposit going to a bank in Addison, Texas?"
Because Craig said he lived in Addison.
And she said, "No, honey, the address is actually in your hometown." I'm still shocked by it.
I'm angry at him for taking advantage of my sister, and my heart goes out to her because she wants to believe everything he says.
He did ask me for $400 just the other day. I told him I didn't even have $20.
My sister has sent this cat $30,000. She's hocked her car, hocked her home, she's hocked her living room furniture. She ain't got nothing left.
My family doesn't like him, and my brother absolutely thinks he's not real. I tell them that he's very real and that he loves me. I have all the pictures of him. Last night he sent me a picture where he just had got home. This is the picture that I got from him. And that they look like the pictures of when I FaceTime him. I'm hoping Dr. Phil does bring us together and that we do have our happy ever after. If he isn't lying to me, that would make my heart burst wide open.
Well, Fran, good to meet you.
Good to meet you, Dr. Phil.
You've been watching me for how long?
Lots of years. I love your show. I really enjoy watching you.
You think I'm pretty straight with folks?
I think you're very straight with folks.
Yeah. If he's real, then that's great. Maybe. I mean, we don't know much about him, but if he's real, that's great. We got something to work with, right?
That's right.
If he's not, we don't know, but if he's not, would you want to know that?
I definitely would want to know that.
Why?
Because I've been with him for a little over a year now, and I have totally fell in love with him. And if he's not real, then I want to know that I'm not in love with a real person.
Okay, and I want to talk about the words you just used because this is evidence of how you're into this. You said if he's not real, and I've been in love with him for a year. Well, if he's not real, then you haven't been in love with him for a year. So you're contradicting yourself even in your rhetoric. If he's not real, then who have you been in love with? How would you explain that?
I have felt like I'm in love with his soul. I feel like he's my soulmate. That's how I feel right now.
Okay. It feels good to be in love, right?
I think it's an idea of being in love with someone who would love me back. I want to be in love with someone who loves me the way I feel like he loves me.
Okay, now that's really helpful that you can see and understand that you want very much to be in love with somebody that loves you back.
Yes.
You've been interacting with this person for how long? 2 years?
About a year and a half, pretty close to it.
Okay, a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Now, is it commonsensical that you would be in a relationship with somebody for a year and a half in the United States and never have met them in person?
Not really.
You could walk in a year and a half and be there.
That's true. He's been waiting on his inheritance, and
Waiting is not somewhere that's specific to a location. You can wait anywhere.
I agree with you, and I've told him that.
Fran says that Craig told her that all the money that she sends to him needs to be untraceable. So why would that be?
I sold my truck to my son Eddie so that I could get extra money to give to Craig. I sold my living room furniture. I sell these masks online. I sell my cookies. He likes when I sell my cakes, and he always brags on them. I have sent Craig over $30,000. I have 3 credit cards. They're all maxed out. The ones that say 100 or 50 on them are only worth that much, but the ones that'll say 10 to 200, they're all worth 200 each. Craig actually takes these cards to a store close to his house, and he actually gets cash out of them. These other papers, they're worth anywhere from $500 to $1,000 each.
Forever, she wouldn't tell me nothing because she knows I'm the protector of the family. And then she said, well, I'm sending him a little bit of money, but not much. I said, Frank, how much money you send this cat? Oh, not much. Not much, I promise.
Fran says she truly believes that Craig will pay her back every penny and more. Take a look.
We had been talking for probably a little over a month or so when Craig told me about him trying to buy a car for his daughter. He told me she was a hard worker, and I had lost my daughter, so that really touched my heart, and I was willing to help him out. I sold my truck to my son Eddie so that I could get extra money to give to Craig. I sold the truck for $12,000. I love that truck a lot. He needed money again, and I sold my living room furniture. I do miss my furniture, especially when I have company and there's really no place for anybody to sit right now. But I know it's replaceable. He always asks me what all I can sell, and so he likes when I sell my cakes. He thinks they're beautiful cakes, and he always brags on them. I charge $15 to $20 depending on what kind of cake I make. I sell my cookies by the packages, anywhere from $1 to $2 a package, and I enjoy doing it. I sell these masks online on Facebook. For each mask, I get $5, and I make pretty good selling masks. He gets most of my income that I make off of them. Sometimes I would borrow money through a loan company. There's all different ways that I send Craig money. I have always loved Craig and always been willing to send him anything I had as long as I had it to send to him. I don't have but $100 and some in my checking account right now. Craig does promise to pay me back. Craig's dad passed away and he's got an inheritance coming.
Okay. Now, you have tried to meet him.
Yes, I have.
Has he tried to meet you? Did he drive to see you?
I sent him money for 3 different trips to come to Virginia. He never showed up. I stood and waited on him one time in the doorway at a time he was supposed to be there, and
Didn't show up.
he did not show up.
That was once.
Yeah,
Did
and
you send him money a second time?
he didn't show up,
You sent him money a third time.
and he didn't show up.
Here's what you say is off about Craig. You said Craig might not be his real name, but I don't care.
I did say that.
Yeah. He says he's asked you to sell things to send him money. And when you didn't, he broke it off with you for not sending money.
Yeah, we broke up.
Craig, you are sending the money to that address that has nothing to do with trust here. You never listen, and I'm tired of it. So you choose. Either you sending the money so that I can continue with this or give this a break.
Yeah, that's what he says.
Just threatening you. Then 324, you always got a problem sending money. Maybe you never wish to. But where's she from?
Addison, Texas.
That ain't Texan. That's somebody that has English as a second language, is what that is. He gave you the wrong address and refuses to give you his real address and says, send money that's not traceable.
If I send money through the bank, it always had to go to someone else.
He says he had a daughter and he needed $500 to buy, because you're going to get her a car.
Right.
And he knew you had lost your daughter, right?
Yes, he did.
Very sorry for your loss, by the way.
Thank you.
Really hate that for you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
But he knew that. So he says, I need $500 to buy my daughter a car, knowing you've got a soft spot in your heart for daughters, right?
Yes. That was the first $500 I sent him.
Right. And he later confessed he doesn't even have a daughter.
Yes, he did.
Well, I did some research, and when we come back, I'm going to tell you what we found out.
I've had this set up ever since I didn't meet him. I bought him a San Francisco 49ers coffee mug. He said we were going to get married, and I bought these little glasses. They say the final fling before the bling. And I still have his Valentine's card that I bought and filled out and never got to send to him because he won't give me his address. That's his shirt that I bought him for Christmas. I do a lot of crafting, so I made that flower arrangement for Craig's mother. I didn't get to give it to her. It feels good because I haven't been with a man in a lot of years, and he makes me feel special. Craig always treats me good, always says nice things to me. Craig really won my heart over, and I'm still getting in love with Craig.
You just said in your tape piece, he's always so sweet and kind and tells me what I really need to hear.
Yes,
He's sweet and kind when you're paying him money,
that's it, I guess.
but
Yeah.
when you don't, he threatens you, rejects you, breaks up with you. So you're paying him to tell you nice things. Isn't that the truth of it?
I think it is.
It's like you're paying a service to tell you what you want to hear.
Never thought of it like that.
But isn't that how it's working out? Isn't that how it's working out?
Yes.
Exactly how it's
Absolutely.
working out. She's living in a fantasy world.
He threatens, he ignores, he gets depressed and just needs rest. He pouts, he says, "You don't trust me."
Yeah.
He says he just doesn't need the stress you're putting on him. He guilt induces you. So who is he? I did some checking. I checked in Manor, Texas. This person with this date of birth doesn't live in Manor, Texas, never lived in Manor, Texas. Also checked Addison. Doesn't anybody live there, that birth date, Manor, Texas? So I went beyond Manor, went beyond Addison, and scanned the entire United States of America to see if anybody existed with that name and birth date in the entire United States of America. Doesn't exist. I thought, well, let's check his phone number. And he gave you a phone number. This phone number is an anonymous phone number that is tied to an app that is commonly used in scams. He told you he had an attorney that was handling this Krista woman. We have her last name, I won't say it here. Mm-hmm. So I thought, well, I'll check. This is supposed to be in Florida, right? Mm-hmm. Check Florida Bar Association, doesn't exist. Checked American Bar Association, doesn't exist. But then you know that because he eventually told you that was a lie. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't exist in Manor or Addison or in the United States of America, nor does his phone, nor does this attorney. This is all made up. Why do you think he would fall for that?
Guess I'm just a lonely person.
They do it to women and men who have suffered loss and tragedy in their lives. And so they're vulnerable. They're emotionally compromised and they go, oh, I found someone here with a broken wing and I'm going to pretend to fix it. And because they know you have a good heart, and because they know that your mind doesn't run to dark places, they can sneak up on you to the point that you sell the couch that you sit on when you're tired.
I had to tell you that, sister.
This is your Craig, right? Well, we found the man in these pictures. And he is anxious to talk to Fran, and we're going to meet him next. I wanted to find out, who this person was. I mean, this is a real picture. So we were able to find the man in the Craig photos. And he's going to join us now virtually. So thank you for joining us. Anthony, are you there?
Yeah, hi, Dr. Phil.
How are you, Anthony? First off, let me tell you how much I appreciate you taking time out of your day, your life, and your willingness to come on here and help. And I'm so sorry that you've had identity theft visited upon you. So let me be very clear. You're seeing Craig here. This is your Craig, right?
Yes, it is.
And let me tell you, this man is a victim just like you. He has absolutely nothing to do with this whatsoever. So anybody walking by your TV and looking at this, Craig, this man is innocent. This is Anthony. He has nothing to do with this whatsoever, other than he had his identity stolen because he's obviously a very attractive guy. And so they ripped his picture off and used it to get to you. Anthony, what did you want to say to Fran?
Well, how are you doing, Frank?
Doing okay.
I am the man in the photos, but I have not been speaking with you at all.
I'm sorry.
I mean, it's okay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry it happened to you as well.
Thank you.
And Anthony, what did you think when you found out that your pictures had been ripped off and used in this way?
I was shocked initially. And then I started thinking it's really scary that someone would be taking your photos and pretending to be you.
And, he says it breaks his heart for you that someone the same age as his mom is being scammed. And how old are you, Anthony?
I'm 38.
He's 38. And Craig told you he was...
Well, he said he was born in 64, and then he said his birthday is today. And he told me last night he was 65.
Yeah.
So he changed his age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does he look 65 to you?
No.
Well, he doesn't look 65
No.
to you. Anthony says he even thought he was being scammed when the producers, my producers called from the show to contact you, right, Anthony?
Yeah, I did. I thought it was a scam at first.
Yeah. Yeah, we had to do a FaceTime tour of the Paramount lot here, which is good, Anthony, that you said
Right.
you need to show me, walk me around Paramount lot, show me the Dr. Phil studios, because it could be, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I was shocked.
Yeah. What does this tell you now? Do you have any doubts whatsoever?
It tells me I'm deleting everything and moving on with my life the best I can.
Yeah. Anthony, thank you so much for being willing to do this and helping her out. It means an awful lot to us. And if we can do anything for you, let us know. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
All right. So next, why is it that Fran and other vulnerable people overlook so many warning signs, red flags in relationships? I'm going to tell you my thoughts when we come back. Every year, romance scams take more and more money from those who fall victim. But there are things that you can do without having the resources that we have here. So pay attention, because what I'm getting ready to show you could save you or somebody you love from possible heartbreak and financial ruin. Take a look.
Here at Dr. Phil, a lot of people fall victim to love scams. The first red flag that we like to look at is the exchange of money. So when Fran told me about a man named Craig that she had never met in person, I had a lot of questions about him. What we did know is that he had asked Fran to send money to his alleged lawyer named Krista, who lived in Florida. We found that there was no Krista in Florida or in the United States practicing as a lawyer. After After we realized a lot weren't adding up, we went looking at all the photos that he had sent Fran for clues. I learned he was possibly a football coach, he was allegedly from Texas, had a Florida tattoo on his arm, and he had a son. After searching to see if he was possibly a football coach, I came to a dead end. Looking at a couple other photos, I noticed that he was wearing another shirt with a logo on it. It said healthy, wealthy lifestyle, and I did a quick Google search. It led me to the brand's Instagram account, so I looked at all 1,500 of their followers. Eventually, I came across an account that had a photo of a man who looked exactly like Craig. The account that I found was under the name of Anthony. I was able to connect with Anthony, and he was able to confirm that, yes, those were his photos. He is absolutely, without a doubt, not Craig. All of these things anyone can do from home with the access to the internet, Google, social media platforms. People can start researching any red flag that they find, and if they sense that something's off, start digging.
Andrea's one of our producers, and what are some other things people can do at home without all of our cyber detectives and everything?
All right, so one of the first things that I always do that I think anybody has very simple access to is collecting any photos that you have from the person that you think you're talking to or your loved one is. And there's reverse image searching engines that are free. So you just save them to your desktop, you plug them right into your search bar, and you can do that. There's a platform on Google, and then there's another platform as well that if you just type in reverse image search, sometimes you can get a hit, you can get a match, it'll find the same digital footprint. And
then you say look at social media profiles, check followers, who they are, where they're from, because that can tell you if the person that's being used, their identity is being used, you can find out where they actually populate, where they live. You can zero in.
Yeah. And so something that I noticed on Craig's profile, so I was able to still look, it was active, but there was no post, which one, that's a little suspicious, 0 posts. And the other thing was that I think there were 13 followers that he had, and one of them was you, and the others were different men. And from what I was able to see within those profiles is that they were not from America.
Then you start to see, this isn't a real person, this is a made-up account. What we're saying, guys, is if you have doubts about this, without all of these extra resources, you can do some stuff. You just start looking backwards. Thank you so much.
Yes, of course.
We will have listed some of these tips and tricks you can do to track things down on drphil.com and on our Facebook page. So the question now is Fran ready to move on from Craig for good? And how does she move forward? We'll be right back. I guess the bottom line question is, have I convinced you beyond any shadow of a doubt that this individual does not exist?
Yes, you have.
100%.
100%.
Because what I'm going to ask you to do is unplug. You've got to disconnect, cancel out the account, and know that you do have some open wounds inside that you have to deal with. And you do have to deal with those things, and I'm happy to help you with that, but you've got to unplug from this and give yourself some time to adjust. And y'all need to stay close to her during this time and make sure that she knows and feels that support.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I appreciate what you've done from the bottom of my heart.
And Fran, to at least get things going back in the right direction, we here at Dr. Phil want to set you up with putting your living room back together with some couch and chairs and lamps and tables. So let us replace your living room for you so you at least have a place to sit down and think about your future. I want to thank all of my guests today. For more information about today's show, go to drphil.com. If you'd like to be in our audience, know that we do have our studio audience back this year. So please know that you can come. We follow all the CDC guidelines. Everybody here is vaccinated. They do wear masks, so we really put safety first. You know where to find me on all the different social media platforms where the show kind of lives on after the fact. We talk about a lot of different things. We have a special Facebook group called Dr. Phil Fanatics. That's PHAN. It's a private group for superfans where you get latest Dr. Phil news first. And I pop in there from time to time. We even did a Dr. Phil Fanatics show just the other day. And Robin and I both have podcasts. Mine's Fill in the Blanks, and hers is I've Got a Secret. We'd love to spend time with you there as well. We'll see you next time. So long.
On an all-new Dr. Phil.
Once my mom starts drinking, she cannot stop.
Drink it's till she passes out.
She's been in the hospital with a blood alcohol content of 0.47. 0.47 is lethal.
Legally dead.
You all need to prepare that you may end her life. How sick are you?
I have cirrhosis of the liver.
If you don't change, they are going to be standing next to you in a coffin. Let's do it. Is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today's going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
I am not giving up on you. In 2018, doctors gave my guest Janie a life expectancy of 5 years if she stopped drinking immediately. But Janie's daughter Michaela says that didn't stop her mother. Michaela claims her mom is a former party mom who just never grew up. She and her Uncle CJ want to make things clear. It's her mom's last call, or they're going to walk away for good.
My mom is a party mom who's never really grown up.
My sister Janie has been spiraling out of control. Her drinking has really taken over her life.
Growing up, I never had a parental structure. My mom was just partying.
I'd go over and hang out with them, and the beer would come out at 5 o'clock, you know. It's 5 o'clock somewhere.
I pretty much was on my own. I made my own choices. I drank a lot. I did a lot of drugs. I didn't make it past my sophomore year of high school.
Michaela's life started to spiral out of control as well. She ended up in jail. The police knew her by her first and last name.
When I was 15 years old, I was partying with my mom. When I turned 18, I turned my life around completely. I started my own company. The problem is my mom has never grown up. Once my mom starts drinking, she cannot stop.
Just drink. It's till she passes out.
My mom's drinking is so bad that she has been in the emergency room over 40 times in the last several years.
Last week, she was in the hospital for coughing up blood.
The doctors told me she had 5 years to live and she needed a liver transplant, but she needed to be sober for 1 year before doing that, and she has not done that. My mom has a really hard time holding down a job. My mom's most recent job, she was a driving instructor, and she recently got a DUI and lost that job. She's living in a hotel until she runs out of money.
I feel helpless with my sister.
My mom needs to hit her rock bottom, but I'm afraid of what that rock bottom is gonna be.
Well, Michaela, CJ, I'm glad both of you guys are here because you think she's on a road to an early death.
Definitely.
Yes.
And the doctors made it clear that she's not just they're not just saying you can generally drink yourself to death. They're saying she's in end-stage liver failure.
Yes.
It's very serious, and it is a miracle my mom is still alive right now, and I don't think she's going to make it through this year.
And when she drinks, she doesn't just party drink. She drinks to the point of becoming seriously ill while she's drinking, right?
Yes. It actually builds onto that. Maybe the first day or something like that might just be 1 or 2 glasses of wine, and then it turns into 1 or 2 boxes, then it turns into full-out binge drinking.
Do you think she's still deluding herself into thinking she can socially drink? Is she telling herself that?
Absolutely.
Is that her narrative?
I definitely believe that.
She's going to come out here and she's going to deny a lot of stuff that happened.
She will.
She's going to deny a lot of stuff that happened in my life growing up, and she's going to deny the fact that she has a problem. Like, she thinks everything's fine right now. She's going to come out here and just think like, "Oh, I'm totally fine. I don't have a problem."
I've dealt with her denying this for years and years and years.
Okay, she's been in the hospital with a blood alcohol content of 0.47.
Mm-hmm.
0.47.
Yeah.
They don't know how she's breathing.
0.08 is legally drunk. 0.47 is lethal.
Yeah. It's legally dead.
You say that you're now raising your 17-year-old sister because your mom just couldn't.
Yes, I've had her for 2 years now.
Now, your mother was drinking with you when you were 15.
Yes, so I started partying when I was 14 years old. I did a lot of drugs, alcohol, and she used to party with us. She actually was kind of like the party mom, like more of, a friend than an actual mom. I don't remember her actually being my parent. It was more of a friend. And she used to get invited by my other friends to parties. I mean, up until this day, actually.
So like from 14 to 17, she was just right in there with you, drinking, drugging,
Yes.
whatever. Did you know at the time that was strange?
I mean, she just seemed like my friend, so it kind of seemed normal. I guess I've never had that experience. I mean, everything after I was 4 years old was a total disaster.
At 18, you said, enough's enough, too much is too much. I can't go on living this way.
Mm-hmm.
Where did you find the strength and the direction to do that?
So I actually was in juvenile hall. I was arrested, and I was arrested multiple times, but this was kind of my final, I guess, my rock bottom I hit.
It was during Christmas too.
It was during the holiday season. I was arrested. It kind of cleared my head a little bit, and I prayed a lot. I'm very religious, so or I wasn't at the time, but now when I got out of there, I really think God saved me because I don't see why I would be here. And then I turned my life around and I actually moved. I got away from all of my friends, all of my party friends. I went somewhere I knew nobody. I went down there by myself and just started over.
Because you certainly didn't have the role model that you needed.
No.
And you didn't have the protector that you needed because one of her loser boyfriends had violated you along the way. Did she protect you then?
No, she didn't believe me. Her boyfriend, sexually abused me when I was 14 years old. She said, "Oh, he's this good Christian guy. He would never do that." She didn't believe me. And it wasn't until the school got involved and had to do a pretext phone call to actually get him to admit the situation.
But yet you're still fighting for her.
And I'm still, and I'm here today fighting for her.
One of the reasons that I agreed to do this story is that you all need to prepare for the eventuality that she may end her life.
Dr. Phil, this is our last opportunity for my mom.
It really is.
There is no other, if she cannot get the help here today, she is going to die. I don't think I'm going to see her next year. I don't even know if she's going to make it to Christmas.
And you've created this opportunity, so you know you've done the last thing you knew you could do.
This is the last thing I'm
You're not
going
going to bury her and say, I wish I'd have called Dr. Phil.
This is the last thing I'm going to do. And for a while, for the last year, I haven't helped her. I haven't talked to her. My siblings don't talk to her. They don't like talking to her. So this was the last thing that I wanted to do. It's either this or nothing.
Dr. Phil, we have done what we feel is almost everything other than jailing her in a rehab, which is just not really possible. Like, we can't do that. And
everybody's a star in rehab when they get out.
Right. We've had interventions. I think the most she's ever really made it was 3 months, 3 or 4 months, and it's always a relapse.
Well, me and my team have done our homework here, and we're ready to talk to her and deal with it.
Okay.
Now, Janie says she hasn't had any alcohol since getting a DUI last month, but her family doesn't know if she's being truthful. Well, I got a breathalyzer here, and we're going to find out if Janie has alcohol in her system. And, she could not be drinking and have some alcohol in her system because her liver's certainly not metabolizing things right, but we're going to find out exactly where she is, blood-wise, brain-wise. We're going to meet her next.
For the past 10 years, my drinking's gotten a little out of hand. Last week, I started coughing up blood. The doctors told me if I wouldn't have gone to the ER, I would have died. I haven't had alcohol in 30 days, but my family doesn't believe me.
I've never had a real mother-daughter relationship. It's always been a friend. I do not respect my mom whatsoever. I used to have a lot of anger towards my mom, but now at this point in my life, I've just given up on her, and I've had to accept the fact that she's gonna die.
This is our last chance. I really hope Dr. Phil is able to help.
If my mom does not take Dr. Phil's advice, I am not gonna be speaking with her anymore, and I am done.
Well, we're back with Michaela and her uncle CJ. Now, Michaela says her mother and CJ's sister, Janie, has lost almost everything due to her alcohol addiction, including her house and job. But if she doesn't stop drinking for good, she'll lose the only thing she has left, them and her life.
For the past 10 years, my drinking's gotten a little out of hand. Alcohol does make me feel relaxed. I drink because I've been depressed, bored. My daughter, Michaela, and I have kind of a special relationship. I was 20 when I had Michaela. Since I had kids at a really young age, I never really had that college party time. When my daughter was about 16, her friends would come over and I would end up just letting them drink at the house. I would drink, but I would be usually downstairs. I've been to the hospital about 5 times for drinking. Last week, I started coughing up blood. The doctors told me that if I wouldn't have gone to the ER, I would have died. I know it's hurting my health, but sometimes I felt like I was invincible. Last year, I went to a 30-day rehab facility. It felt like jail. The food was very salty. It was horrible, so I left. Last January, I moved into my dad's house, ended up getting a job as a driving instructor. My dad said I couldn't drink in the house, but I was sneaking alcohol into my room. I'd have like 1 or 2 glasses of wine a night. Recently, I was pulled over for speeding. I passed the breathalyzer test, but apparently I didn't touch my nose correctly. I had gone out and partied on New Year's Eve, and because my liver doesn't process it fast enough, it just stays in my system. I was arrested, lost my job as a driving instructor, and then my dad kicked me out. I haven't had alcohol in 30 days, but my family doesn't believe me. I want my family to know I really just want to get better, and I want to gain their trust again.
Well, Janie, it's good to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
So you were a driving instructor
I was.
and got a DUI.
Yes.
That's kind of ironic, right?
Yes.
But you hadn't been drinking that day. This was holdover from before.
Yes.
Because your liver doesn't clean things out
Right.
very
My
well.
liver doesn't filter things out as it should.
How sick are you?
I have cirrhosis of the liver.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty bad. I started, really scared me as I started throwing up blood about a week ago.
You see this differently than your family. They think that you don't get it. Is that true?
I didn't get it. That is true.
Well, in talking to us, you told us one story and they told us a different one.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to figure out how much denial you're in or how much hysteria they're in.
I think I felt just more invincible. Like, no, it's not going to happen to me. One glass of wine's not going to hurt.
Jane, it has happened to you. That's what I'm saying.
know.
You used to drink vodka and now you think wine is better for some reason. Also, you said in the video that you passed the breathalyzer when you refused the breathalyzer and that's why they took you to jail.
I didn't refuse the breathalyzer. I blew into it.
It said
Will
that
you
it
do a
didn't have a
breathalyzer
reading.
now so they can see? This may not be zero because your liver may not be able to clean all the alcohol out of your system at
Yeah,
this
it's
point.
been
So
about
just, if you
3
will,
weeks.
when it beeps, blow until it beeps twice. Just blow, 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 blow. Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
You're 0.0 now, so it's been long enough that your liver, even
Mm-hmm.
with its less than efficient work, has cleaned out
Yeah.
your blood. So your blood, not your brain, but your blood is alcohol free at this point. So that means she's at least not intoxicated while we're talking now.
Probably the last couple days.
Here are the discrepancies because according to the family, they say that you were told that you had 5 years to live. But according to you, there was no certain amount of time. They say you've been on life support 10 times. You say you've almost died twice.
Life support. I've never been on life support.
ICU.
Oh, ICU. Yeah.
Okay. Hospitalized 40 times.
No,
You say 5 times.
5. I was never in the hospital 40 times.
Janie, you were hospitalized 5 times in
pulled
the
your
past
medical
like year and a
records.
half.
We pulled your medical records.
I've never been in there 40 times at separate occasions.
We thought it was a lot less, and when we pulled the medical records, we found out it was actually a lot more.
Okay. According to the family doesn't speak, and you say you have a good relationship with the family.
We do speak. What are you guys talking about?
I mean,
We
I
do
don't-
talk.
Janie, you and I personally haven't had a good relationship in years, and it's because I have been pulling myself away.
You say you had a family member move because of bullying, and they say that family member moved because of your drinking. They say you were evicted from an apartment. You say, well, the lease just ended.
The lease did end. I was never evicted. It ended, and they were going to raise my rent.
Growing up, we were evicted from every single place that we've ever lived in.
The reason that you guys have never had a stable home is because you haven't ever had a stable job, and it's because you haven't been able to keep one because of your alcohol dependency.
My first criminal charge, was breaking an entry when I was 13 years old to my own house that we got evicted from. That was my first charge.
We were evicted from that one.
And I was going in to get my stuff because our stuff wasn't locked in the house.
You say you allowed drinking by Michaela. She says you partied with her.
I was downstairs, and I let you and your friends come over, and I would not let you leave. I would let you drink there because I didn't want you going out and doing drugs.
You're not talking to a probation officer here. You're
I
talking to Dr. Phil.
I know.
You're talking about this like it's normal. Like
I mean,
I was downstairs while they were drinking upstairs.
I was 16 in
Do
that
you
picture.
do you get that allowing your daughter to drink
I was 16 in that picture.
is not okay? I mean, I'm looking at this picture here.
Yeah.
That's you, right?
Yeah, that's me with the beer. And she was there.
Did you drink and do drugs with your daughter?
I didn't drink with her, and I did not do drugs with her.
She never did drugs with me, but she definitely, we partied and drank.
When you have all those kids at your house and they're under the age of 18, you just don't drink, right?
Right.
So that's kind of the point we're trying to make here.
I regret a lot of that. Believe me, I do.
What did Janie's dad, Greg, find inside Janie's hotel room last week? We'll ask him after the break.
My daughter has almost died on numerous occasions. One time, they found her blood alcohol level to be higher than 0.4%. 0.4% could cause death. It just really put the fear in me.
My mom continues to drink and has not hit her rock bottom is because of my grandfather's enabling behavior.
My dad very much enabled Janie. We call him Superman because he's always been there for Janie and all of us kids.
He's my Superman, and I love him very much.
Over the years, in rent, in groceries, in help for her family, I believe my father spent over $1 million for her.
There's always been somebody to bail her out. If she has ever gotten close to hitting her rock bottom, my grandfather has been the biggest enabler for my mother.
Are you a chronic alcoholic?
Yes.
You were told in 2018 that you were end-stage liver failure and had 5 years to live, a limited time to live. You continued drinking after that.
Yeah, I quit for about 1.5 years after that.
No, you didn't.
Done.
You've only been sober for like 3 months at a time.
No,
maybe
no,
6
that's
if
not
I'm giving
true.
you some
But
sort
you
of credit.
continued to drink after that.
Yes.
So since that time, you have continued to drink yourself into oblivion. Since that time, they told you if you drink, it'll kill you. You continued to drink.
Yes. I did quit for a
No,
really
I
long
can tell.
time.
I can tell when
was
you're
with-
actually sober. I could tell
when
those
I
times when
was-
you're actually sober, and then I can tell when you're foggy-headed and you're
You know,
not
the
thinking
active
clear.
point to me is that when somebody tells you that this contains toxic poison for you, and after knowing that, you actively imbibe in this, fill it up, drink it again, fill it up, drink it again, fill it up, drink it again, not just on a bad night, but across a 3-year period. That's the clinically significant point to me. Why?
I don't know. And that's why I'm here.
You know, old Janie is dead. You're gone. And you're not the same person anymore.
I don't believe that. I believe that she can be back, but I think it's going to take some real work on her part and some real good advice.
Well, Janie's father, Greg, says he would do anything to help his daughter. Take a look.
My daughter Janie's been struggling with alcohol for quite some time now, and I know that if this continues, it's going to kill her. My daughter has almost died on numerous occasions. One time, I tried to reach her on the telephone. There was no response. I drove to her house, and the paramedics were called, and they did break down the door to get in. When I found Janie, she was unresponsive and passed out on the floor. I didn't know if she was dead or alive. They found her blood alcohol level to be higher than 0.4%. 0.4% could cause death. Janie called me at midnight a week ago, and she was coughing up blood. And so the paramedics came and took her into the ER. When I went to pick up her things, I found blood that was so plentiful, it scared me. It just really put the fear in me. The consumption level of the alcohol that she's been drinking has been enormous. We've tried numerous things to try to get Janie help, to no avail. I offered Janie to come live with us, but I made her promise that she would not drink anymore. My son CJ found evidence again that she had been abusing large quantities of alcohol.
When I would go into Janie's room, I would find assortment of everything. Wine boxes, little vodka bottles. I would say that there was a bottle or a box of wine for every day of the year.
When she broke that promise, I had to kick her out. And we're at the point where we don't believe her anymore. If Janie doesn't stop drinking, I don't know how we can have any kind of relationship whatsoever. And that breaks my heart.
They think you've been enabling her by making it possible for her to live a life of an alcoholic and therefore contributed to her drinking and her demise. Looking back on it, what do you think?
Looking back on it, Dr. Phil, I think that's correct. I've been told that repeatedly. But this is my daughter, my firstborn child, my only daughter. And I just, to put her out on the streets was just heartbreaking for me.
Do you believe that she now, her life is in danger?
Yes, very much so, and that's why we're here. The doctors have told her that if she continued to drink, that she would die.
And they told her that in 18, and
Yeah.
she has continued to drink since then. What did you find in her hotel room?
In her hotel room last week, I found blood in a trash can that was about half full. And then also the toilet was filled with blood. It shook me up. She was in the hospital at the time, and I went to retrieve a few of her possessions, and I found this blood in there.
So the trash can was half full of blood?
Yes.
That's a lot of blood.
That's a lot of blood.
Well, last year, Janie moved in with her dad under one condition, no drinking. Did she hold up her end of the deal? We'll find out when we come back. Closed caption. Last year, Janie moved into her dad Greg's house under one condition, no drinking. Her brother CJ says on several occasions, he found empty containers of boxed wine and small bottles of liquor hidden in Janie's room. But each time, Janie claimed, oh, these are just old. CJ says in total, he's thrown away 10 30-pound trash bags full of empty wine boxes and small liquor bottles from Janie's room. So my team's going to roll out the equivalent of what you say you found. 10 30-pound bags. So this is what you found and thrown out.
Just about, yeah.
10 30-pound bags.
Really?
There's 2 bags in there. I know.
No, there wasn't. We have a video. It shows it.
Janie, I've been up.
We've all seen it. Janie.
There's count like
After I moved out?
no. This is since March of last year.
He's talking about over the year.
Over the whole year. This is how much alcohol you had over the whole entire year.
Okay.
It is. And I know because I went upstairs and I threw every single one away.
He showed them to us, to me. I agree.
Greg, is this a fair representation?
That is a fair representation.
CJ, is that a fair
Very much
representation?
so, yes.
Why do you argue it?
Because I didn't think it was that much.
If that's not real, tell your liver.
Yeah, I know.
Like, do you even realize how serious of a problem you have?
I know. And I
you
thought,
really serious.
I know.
Like you sit here, you go, oh, I know, okay, it's fine. But like, do you really realize how serious of a problem it is? You are going to die. You are killing yourself. What about
I know.
your 12-year-old? What about what about my sister? She's 16 years old. I'm raising her. Why?
Your son can't come down and see you because half the time you're just too drunk or in the
I
hospital.
don't think you even realized how traumatic.
You've lost your relationship
I really don't
with
think
your children.
you do not realize how traumatic it's been to my brother, my little brother.
We have a statement from one of Janie's daughters. She says she has a good relationship, but here's what one of her daughters has to say to you. Quote, "You don't understand the pain that you feel when you see your own mom on the couch for days not having anything to eat or drink other than vodka. Or when you go to her apartment because your family member is visiting, but there is no food in the house and she's passed out on the bed. not knowing why she fell off the bed and is stumbling over her words. I noticed recently I have no good memories with her. I can't recall one time with her where I genuinely felt loved and cared for. I just wish my mom would get some help so I could at least have one good memory.
You can tell we all love her dearly, and that's why we're here, Dr. Phil, to get your advice.
You know, they say that the truth hurts, but in this case, it's denial that will kill you, and that's what I want to talk about when we come back. Last year, for Michaela's 25th birthday, she told us that you wrote her a letter from rehab, and you say in the note that she apologized for drinking and promised that she changed. And you say she only lasted 2 weeks in rehab until she was found passed out on the street. Well, I have that letter, and here are some excerpts from it that I want to remind her of. Can you read off the screen here what you said to Michaela in that letter?
I'm so sorry about messing up again. I know it's a long journey and it will be a lifetime process, but I am so committed to doing it not only for myself and my health, but most of all for you guys. Most people relapse about 4 times before completely quitting forever. This was my 4th time. I love you guys more than myself, even if I was such a screw up. I hope someday you will be able to trust me again and we can have a good relationship again.
You know, in order to be trusted, you have to be trustworthy. And in order to be trustworthy, you have to tell yourself the truth. Do you think they're here because they've given up? Or do you think they're here because they get it and they want you to get it before it's too late?
Yeah, I know they do.
But your destiny, if you don't change, is a medical certainty.
Yeah.
They are going to be standing next to you in a coffin. Now, I've been there. That's a reality. You need to see that. You need to see that in your mind. You need to see that. Everybody here needs to realize the reality we're dealing with. Because you will be dead and gone, but they will be standing there next to this coffin. And I want you to look at that right now. I want you to stop the fuzziness, and I want you to face the reality that we're talking about. This is exactly where you are headed. Is this the legacy you want to leave for your children? Stand up. Come down here with me. Stand over there. This is exactly where you are headed. This is exactly your life. Is this the legacy you want to leave for your children?
No.
You three come down here. Look at your mother across there. Look at your sister. This is the reality you're headed towards.
Imagine what you're doing to Papa. Like, you understand he has tons of health issues, and like he stays up at night and he can't sleep because he's worried about you. You're not just killing yourself, but you're also killing him.
I don't think I could ever forgive you if you put our parents through having to go to your funeral. Even though you're dead and gone, it sounds really bad to say, but I think it would make it easier for me because I'd be so angry at you. Because you have the chance right now to stop.
I don't want to be basically a slave to this anymore.
Well, when Michaela asked one of her sisters whether or not she wanted to fix her relationship with their mom, Michaela says her sister replied, "What is the point? She's going to die anyway." So I guess this is how Janie's tombstone could read. Janie, 1975 to 2021. What's the point? Dying anyways.
Janie passed out in the dining room at a birthday celebration some time ago, and her kids ran into the corner, huddled together, just in fear. They didn't run to their mom, they ran into the corner to hold each other up. And
They were crying.
And
Do you remember that?
I do remember that. I wasn't drinking that day, though. It wasn't that day.
But do you understand?
But yes, I
I understand
remember.
that you may or may not have been
Yeah.
drinking that day, but do you understand that
Yes.
it was the saddest thing that I've
I
ever
remember.
seen. They ran into a corner, huddled together, crying and screaming because they thought you were dead.
Is there anything left to change destiny? Is there anything left to change the course of events? Can that tombstone change? Can this coffin stay above ground? We're going to talk about that when we come back. You two, you've done what you can do. You've said what you can say. And at this point, it's up to her. If she dies tomorrow, you will mourn her, you will grieve her, you will miss her, you will hurt, and you will cry, but you should not feel guilty. Greg, you're not responsible for her alcoholism. She is. You need to stop helping her. And you've done that. Now, I'll tell you what I'm willing to do to help you get jump-started. I think you need some help with overcoming what I think is a clinical depression. I can't diagnose you sitting here because I haven't done all the things I would need to do, but I think you're really down. And I think you need help with that. And I'm willing to arrange, I'll set up 10 sessions for you right away with a board certified and licensed doctoral level therapist on Doctor on Demand, which is a company that my son and I started years ago. It's teletherapy, so you can do it from the privacy of your own home. And research says that it's just as effective as being there. I will set that up for you immediately. I'm going to ask you to attend 90 meetings in 90 days.
Okay.
And you can do that on Zoom as well. And if you do that, if you complete those 10 sessions with that therapist, if you complete those 90 meetings in 90 days, then I will arrange for you to go into a dual diagnosis treatment program. And by that time, you'll feel like, I don't need to go. Yes, you do. And I will make that available to you. And then we will build on strength, and we will build on strength and turn this thing around. And it will involve you guys as well when that happens. So I'm giving you a formula for success.
Thank you.
Are you glad that you came?
Yes, very. Thank you.
Does this make sense to you?
Yeah.
Makes sense to you?
Thank you, Doctor.
I want to thank all of my guests today. If you at home want to have your own Doctor on Demand, just go to Google Play Store or the Apple App Store and download the Doctor on Demand app. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to my podcast, Fill in the Blanks. This week, I talk with children's health expert, Dr. Dimitri Christakis. He